Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for some more Barça news. And indeed, coming up today, we're going to be talking about some of the Barça players who've been impressing on international duty, showing some really promising signs over these past few days. But unfortunately, we still cannot escape the topic of injuries. We're going to be talking again today about another player who may have joined the growing injury list. Is Hector Bellerin injured right now? And we are going to be looking as well on that topic into some more unorthodox options that maybe Xavi could deploy in defence if he really needed to. Some outside of the box picks, and we are going to be discussing it all. Coming up for you. So let's do it. Because indeed, guys, today's video is coming to you courtesy of the One Football app, which, as you know, is the place to stay updated with all of the coming games that we have right on the horizon now. It's going to be a really intense period. There's going to be a lot going on over these coming weeks, and everything you need, it will be right there. And if you're in the UK, you can even now find La Liga highlights right there on the app. You don't have to go anywhere. And if you do want to download that, guys, the link in the description below is the place to do it. Big thank you to One Football and for all of you guys for the support. But if we do kick off here by talking about one of the international games from last night, and I want to talk here about Marc-Andre ter Stegen, because if you didn't watch the game between England and Germany, you could have easily thought that ter Stegen wasn't brilliant. You know, he conceded 3 goals against England there, but it was actually a case of Germany's defence having a bit of a nightmare. And I just want to highlight here the brilliant performance that it was. Yet another really good display from ter Stegen, who actually kept Germany in with a chance of getting anything from the game, because there was an absolutely sensational world-class save there from ter Stegen to deny Raheem Sterling, who was sent through on goal. He cut back inside there, changed direction very, very quickly, but ter Stegen, so quick to react there, low and down to his right-hand side, point-blank range. That was an absolutely top-quality save. And even in the final moments of the game, he made 5 saves in total last night. And look at this one here. Germany allows Saka to run through on goal there in the final moments. He hits it across goal, again, very low, good power on the strike, but ter Stegen is equal to it, tipping it round the post. Fingertip save from him. And I just think that right now, especially with the injuries that we're going to talk about, the defensive concerns that we have and players that we're going to have missing, we need ter Stegen to continue this form. We've seen him so far this season growing in confidence, feeling more secure with the defence that he's had ahead of him, making some really, really good saves. And we have to keep that going. We have to keep this best version of him at play, because we're going to need him. And indeed, guys, on that topic of needing someone, let's talk as well about Robert Lewandowski. Just how much are we going to be relying on him once we get back into action there at Barça? Big games coming, and we're going to need our talisman up front. And I'm going to talk about him because he was in Cardiff, actually, on Sunday to play against Wales. That there, my local team, my local stadium, Robert Lewandowski was there. If I hadn't just got back from holiday, I probably would have gone down to say hello to him. And he was very, very impressive on the night there. I watched the game, and it was he who made the difference for his country. And I just want to talk about this assist, because this was the match-winning moment from him here. Ball played in, long ball to him, and his first touch, he doesn't even bring this down. He watches the ball all of the way, he sees the run of his teammates, and what about that touch? The deftness of it, the accuracy there, of that little flick that just perfectly cushions the ball there. In goes Swiderski, and it's a great goal for Poland. Robert Lewandowski illustrating again, not just his goal-scoring prowess, not just his ability in putting the ball in the back of the net, but the technical ability he has, the quality, the touch, the creative spark that he can bring as well. And like I say, we are going to need him, all of our forwards, in fact, for this very, very important period coming up. And I should mention too, another goal contribution over the past few days, because Jordi Alba, of course, still a Barcelona player. He was on target there for Spain, scoring at the weekend against Switzerland, although it does have to be said that, surprisingly, Spain ended up losing that game. What I thought was really, really interesting, aside from the goal to Jordi Alba, but it was actually what he said after the match. He made a real point of saying, "I'm grateful to Luis Enrique for trusting in me. And whether that there was just a little thinly veiled message for Xavi, or whether it was just appreciation, of course, for Luis Enrique, who ironically, at the end of Luce's time at Barça, he also dropped Jordi Alba, and Jordi Alba didn't like him so much back then, but now he's paying credit to Luis Enrique, whereas Xavi continues to sideline Alba, and it'll be interesting to see how much he plays in the month of fixtures to come, because indeed, when we are talking about defenders, we have yet another injury concern, and I'm getting tired of this, guys, and I'm sure that you are too. Coming here every day, and we have a new problem, because today, Hector Bellerin, who was the man, of course, that we're relying on to come in that right-back area, with Koundé not there, but he felt some discomfort. He felt calf pain there when changing direction in training this morning. That was news that was officially confirmed by the club. He's now going to have to undergo further tests on Wednesday to discover the true extent of that injury. And the club believe right now that it's not something serious, that it's not going to be a big problem, but it is far from ideal. You know, Saturday's game against Mallorca, just days away now, especially with the injury problems, like I say, that we already have. We didn't need another concern on top of that. And it's not only that either, because Sergi Roberto, who I thought would be back, who everybody expected would have the medical green light by now, he hasn't had it yet. Apparently he's still not quite fully recovered from the problem that kept him out just before the international break started. And at right back there, and indeed across our defence, with no Araujo, no Koundé, potentially there no Bellerin, no Sergi Roberto, is Xavi now going to really have to start thinking outside of the box? Because obviously one of the names that we have to bring up when it comes to defence is indeed Gerard Pique. Now I'm aware that obviously this is not an unorthodox player in our back line, but I think it is going to be interesting to see what happens with him. Is this indeed an opportunity for Pique to work his way back into the team under Xavi? Because he seemed a long way down the pecking order. He seemed to be very much being phased out of it at the club. And I think you've also got to bear in mind what we've been hearing throughout this international break. It has been reported there that Barça will have the option to end Gerard Pique's contract at the end of the season if he plays less than 35% of the games in this season. And that is interesting, because right now he's featured there in 2 out of 8 games so far. That is 25% of games, and it is going to be fascinating to see whether Xavi does call upon him more often, or whether that contract clause is in the minds of those at the club. And could Pique remain on the sidelines? There is also the option, though, thinking a little bit more about centre-back, maybe even full-back, I mean, who knows? But Frenkie de Jong, because he is somebody who has played in the defensive line over the course of his Barca career. Quite a few times he's been deployed in that area, and even back in pre-season, of course, he played a number of games at centre-back under Xavi, and I'm not sure, to be honest, if it's a position that he enjoys playing, that he really thrives and, wants to be in that role. But I do have to say, every time he's played there, he's done okay. He's handled himself pretty well. When you're thinking about players building out of the back, he's a fantastic player with the ball. We know that he's an incredible athlete. We know that he reads the game and understands it very, very well. Now, of course, he's not a long-term solution at centre-back by any means, but I'm just wondering here, with the sheer amount of games that we have coming up, with these injury problems that are really mounting up, could we see Frenkie de Jong, given the options that we have in midfield, given how well stacked we are in that area, we may need him in defence if and when required. And I think as well at right back, when you're thinking about losing Jules Koundé there for several weeks, you've now got the concern about Bellerin. We've also got questions about Sergi Roberto. One player that I'm thinking about there in that sort of right back, right wing back role, it does have to be Rafinha. It's a very interesting option, I feel, for Xavi, that if we were very, very desperate, maybe we'd switch the system around, play an extra centre-back, maybe play 5 at the back, have wing-backs there with Balde, and maybe Rafinha as the right wing-back, because we did see him last season while playing at Leeds. He did play in that area for a number of games, and obviously that's still a very different role, because at Leeds he would have been on the back foot. He would have had to have done a lot of defending very deep in the field, but I think think at Barca, if you're playing as a wing-back, a lot of the time, you're bombing on. A lot of the time, anyway, you're doing a lot of attacking work, getting high up the pitch like Rafinha would like to do. And again, it's not ideal. You know, it's not the dream scenario. We want Rafinha to be an attacking player, to be a winger. But if push came to shove and we really had problems and we were looking around for somebody who could come in and cover in that position, he is tenacious. He does work incredibly hard. He's an aggressive player. He can track back. He can tackle very, very well. And I think certainly if Xavi called upon him, if he said, look, we need somebody there, we need you to work for the team, I've got no doubt at all that Rafinha, he'd do that for us. He is somebody who's already shown since arriving at the club a fantastic attitude. He's mentally so strong. And that is another outside of the box option that Xavi, with these problems mounting up, he's going to have to look around. He's already going to be thinking about exactly what his options are. And I think right now, guys, what I really am looking for from you down in the comments down below is what are you sort of expecting ahead of this weekend? You know, every single day that goes by, we have a different issue, a different problem, a different concern at Barca, especially looking defensively. So at this stage, guys, what would your backline be? What would your team be? You know, in your mind, thinking about that Mallorca game on Saturday, how are you looking to line up at this point? What options would you bring to Xavi's door? Please do let me know how you are feeling and what you're thinking right now, as these are very, very important days and weeks to come. Thank you indeed for tuning in once again for today's video. I really appreciate all of your support and all of your thoughts. I will see you soon, because we simply must keep pushing no matter what. But until then, guys, as always, Visca El Barça!